Okay.
All right, welcome back everyone. This is the 16th session of Prevent T2, the CDC's Lifestyle Change Program. Today we are going to talk about staying motivated for the remainder of the program. And the housekeeping thing is the CDC's guidelines require that you have direct interaction with your lifestyle coach each session. So after this recording, please contact your coach to schedule a short call to review this session. All right, let's look at our objectives. So this is kind of a big, kind of a crossroads where we're at, or a milestone. And so this is a really good, important time just to really see how far you've come. And then also to look at our next steps. And then we're going to have you look at your goals for the rest of the program and then come up with an action plan.
Okay, so let's start by looking at how far you've come since we started this program. So I have here 3 questions that we want to reflect on individually and as a group. So on your own, whether you want to use this as a journal exercise or just kind of take a moment to reflect. Our first question is, what healthy changes have you made in your eating since starting this program? So from our group, we've heard a lot about how people have started to eat less fast food. Maybe they're preparing their lunches more and bringing it to work rather than going out to a fast food restaurant to get their lunch. We've also heard that people are starting to cook more vegetables at home and kind of experiment with different vegetables that they maybe haven't used before, and even trying to introduce their kids to new vegetables. So even some of these changes that might sound small, once they add up, they really do have a big change on your nutrition and your eating habits. So stick to those if you've made some of those positive changes. And then the next question is, what healthy changes have you made in your fitness? So again, we've seen some small changes that are starting to add up. Maybe people started with a low number of minutes for their physical activity each week, and now they're starting to increase their minutes. Hopefully folks have achieved the 150 minutes of physical activity that this program really encourages. But either way, any sort of increase in the number of minutes or the number of miles you walk, the number of steps you do daily, those are really significant changes. Or maybe you're starting to bring in your family to your fitness. Maybe you're doing exercise videos with your kids, or you're going on walks in the evening with your partner. We've heard a lot of those positive changes as well. And so that last question is, what challenges have you overcome to make those healthy lifestyle changes? So this is a really important one to think about. So what were some of those obstacles you had at the beginning, and how have you coped with those or gotten past those? So we've heard from a lot of people that they're too stressed or too busy. And so a lot of people have coped with that by scheduling things in. Maybe you work in a work environment where you are encouraged to take a walking break, or you can take walking meetings, whether you're on the phone or you're with your coworker, just go on a walk as you're meeting. Some workplaces also offer workout classes, so that's a really great way to fit it in. And again, some of those ideas of trying to get your family to participate in things with you, that can be a really great support system and encourage you to do it. Some of those other challenges are, I don't have enough time to cook a healthy meal at the end of the day. So we're seeing people starting to adopt meal prep strategies. So maybe on the weekend you shop, you're able to strategize what you're shopping for and what meals you'll prepare, and you prepare those meals for the week when you do have time on the weekend, so that you're able to eat healthier during the week. So those are just some examples of what we've heard in the program so far. So some of these changes that we're seeing from folks, and all of these are really, really great positive changes. And like I said, they do really add up, and we're excited to see more changes for everyone as the program continues. And so the next piece of this session is a really important piece. So we have our group progress and individual progress reports. And if you don't know what we're talking about, if you don't have a sheet of paper with these progress reports on them, go ahead and pause this video and reach out to your lifestyle coach. And we do have progress reports for every individual as well as the cohort that you're a part of. So make sure you have that info from us before you continue this recording. And I'll just show us here an example of what these reports look like. So keep in mind that the numbers on the screen here, these are not a real situation. These do not represent any particular group or any particular individual. I just threw these numbers in there just for the sake of showing you an example. So on the left, we have the group progress report. And so this report includes the pounds the group has lost and the percent of body weight the group has lost and the minutes of activity per week the group has gained. So you can see that here we've listed the starting weight of the group. So say your cohort has 8 people, 9 people, 10 people. We add up everyone's weight. So that's what you see here is the 2,000 pounds. And that was from the beginning. So session 1, what everyone weighed at session 1. And then that total current weight, the 1920 pounds, that's the sum of everyone's current weight. And then obviously that's a difference of 80 pounds. So that means that as a group, this, example group lost 4% of their group weight at this point in the program. So that's a really great start. And then you can see that the total starting weekly physical activity minutes, that's 1,000 minutes across the whole group. And then our current physical activity minutes are at 1,500. So say you have a group of 10 people, that means everyone's reaching their 150 minutes a week, right? So that's great. That's what this program encourages. That's what we want to see. And so we can see here that the group as a whole completed 500 or increased by 500 minutes. So that's a 50% increase. And then we have a note here of participation, and maybe that's a piece that is more relevant for us as your coaches, but it's good for us to see how much participation we're getting from the group as it relates to the type of changes that we're seeing and how successful the program is. So then on the right, you can see the individual progress. So again, I have the starting weight of this imaginary individual at 300 pounds, and then I have the current weight. So let's say that's 291 pounds. So this person has lost 9 pounds, and that's 3% of the starting weight. So compared to the 4% of the group progress, so you can see that an individual here that's lost 3%, maybe there's another participant that's lost 7%, but there could also be a participant that's lost 0.5%. So maybe someone's really struggling or has stalled in their weight loss, but that average of the whole group has resulted in that 4% weight loss. But anyway, so back to the individual, we can see the starting physical activity minutes, 50 minutes. Current physical activity minutes, okay, they increased by 100, so they're now at the 150 minutes that the program encourages, which is great. So they increased by 200%, and we're seeing that this participant is participating at 100%, which is great. So we can definitely see that in the results. We see the physical activity has gone up. We see that the weight loss is happening. They're coming to all of the classes. That's really great. That's what we want to see. And there's, just proof is in the pudding, right? So people that are participating at 100% will most likely see the changes that they want to see and will see that weight loss happen. And then at the top here, I just included, some of the CDC guidelines. And part of this program is that it does promote the loss of 5 to 7% of your original weight by the end of the year-long program. So we bring that up again here just so that you keep it in mind as you see these progress reports, think about where you are right now in this program, how far you've come, and how much weight you've lost. And then think about where you're going and where you want to be at the end of this program. And so say this individual that's at the 3% weight loss point, they're on track, right? So say we're halfway through, they could, if they stay with this progress, they could also get to that 6% weight loss by the end of this year-long program. But maybe if you're losing less than that 3% as this example, maybe you want to kind of evaluate, okay, why is my weight loss stalling? Or maybe I need to get some support to help me achieve this. So again, that's just something important to keep in mind. And we'll talk more later about kind of reestablishing our goals as it relates to our weight loss and our physical activity minutes. But for now, I'll pass it off to Sharon.
Thanks, Angie. That was a really important piece there, because it's really kind of, we're taking a little pause and just so you can see where you are. And like you said, we're all at different places, and it's either confirming that you're doing great, or you're doing really well, or you may be struggling, or you need you're having some challenges. And so there's no right or wrong to this. It's just a point in time, and just now we've got the remainder of the program to get support or continue doing what you're doing. So yeah, so that's what that's all about. So here we are. So you've come so far since you started the program, and you've coped with many challenges along the way. So now the next challenge is to stay motivated for the rest of the program. So we're going to look at an example here. We're going to look at Marie's story, and I'll go ahead and read this, and then I'll come back. So Maria is at risk for type 2 diabetes, so she decides to eat right and get active. Marie works hard and sticks to her plan. As a result, she reaches her weight goal. She also achieves her activity goal. Strangely enough, once she reaches her goals, Marie doesn't feel quite as motivated. She starts sliding back to her old habits. Marie decides to take action. She thinks about how far she's come. She sets a new weight goal, and she commits to her healthy lifestyle all over again. She even gets her husband to join her. Today, Marie is back to feeling motivated. She plans to live a long and healthy life. So as you see here in her story that, she lost her motivation and she's sliding back, and a common thing that happens there is like, well, I don't have to work so hard because my weight's lower. So it's kind of a subliminal way we let old habits kind of creep back in. So what we want to do is look at what we find challenging to stay motivated, and kind of look at those things real closely. So if you go to your participant guide to page 6, and then it follows up on page 7, this lists some common things, challenges that are faced when people kind of reach this kind of point whether they want to continue or not. So some are like, I am bored. So these are just some ideas to kind of cope with boredom. And then you can also add some other ways to cope over on the right side that you might find are different than these. The group meets less often than it used to, and that we will be kind of moving to that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So if you're finding you need support, this is really important this is a really important thing to keep in mind, because that support can really help bridge that gap between the classes. I've lost a lot of weight, or I've reached my goal, so I'm there, so I can kind of go back. So yeah, and that's reminding yourself, wait a minute, I really can't go back to my old way of eating. So I've come this far, and I have to recognize this is a lifestyle change. So think about all the benefits that you've gotten from eating right and being active, just maybe sleeping better, more energy, and you want to keep those things. So you can also set a new goal and set other goals besides weight loss. And then on the next page, some more challenges is I've gotten off track, and this happens because old habits don't change overnight. So the most important thing is in your mind is having those positive thoughts and being optimistic and looking for people to support you in that. Surround yourself with optimistic people, and then look at problems that might come up. And there's definitely ways to work with problems. And there's a list of ways here, like we do all the time. And then weight loss slowing down. It's like, man, I'm doing all this stuff and nothing's happening, and not letting go. It's like, yes, as you lose weight, it doesn't continue in that same rate of weight loss, and looking at all the other things that are happening, and just stay motivated based on those things that are happening. And then the last one is like you've made less progress than you expected. And so again, this goes back to that positive mindset, just really celebrate those successes that you've had and look how far you've come. And this is a lifelong journey. It doesn't just happen in a matter of a few months and then you're, live happily ever after. This keeps going. But so when you're kind of feeling like you haven't made as much progress, this might be a time for reflection to see, okay, well, looking back at the other sessions that we've done and which sessions have really, you've really embraced, and other ones that might not have been so big. So, kind of reassessing where you are in some of those other sessions. So, like I said, meeting less often is one of those things I talked about, is that can make it challenging to stay motivated. So let's first go back to Marie's story, and I'm going to, no, we did that, sorry. So what is challenging to stay motivated? So like I said, we are going to be meeting less often. So one thing to know is that even though we're meeting less often, we are going to still offer some other opportunities to come in and get support through whether classes or talking circles. So we'll have some things going on, and then think about some other ways that you can get support. So things like reaching out to your family, friends, and coworkers. Remember we talked about groups and classes and clubs, and a lot of times this is all online in COVID times, but just seek out those kind of people and those environments that are going to fuel your progress and that kind of that positive way of thinking and good group activities and things like that. And then also reaching out to professionals, whether that's a therapist or a dietitian or your physician, medication adjustments, things like that. There's just don't feel like you're the only one. There's so much support out there, but it just takes, kind of making that call or text or whatever it is, or get online and see what's out there.
Okay, so those were some of the next steps for the group or the cohort as a whole. So next we're going to talk about your individual steps for the rest of the program. So I'll take us to the participant guide. And we'll go to page 4. So here this might look a little familiar from what we saw at the start of the program. So you can see that your activity goal for the rest of the program, that hasn't changed. That's still getting at least 150 minutes of activity each week at a moderate pace or more. But at this point in the program, you may want to revise your weight goal. So we invite you to fill this out now. And so again, fill in what you weigh now. And that's the weight that if we saw you in person recently, maybe we gave you, or hopefully you have a scale at home that you're able to weigh yourself. If not, try to get into the wellness center and get weighed as soon as you can so you can complete this piece. And then next, decide if you want to lose weight or maintain your weight. for the rest of this program. And mark your choice on this handout. So if your goal is to lose weight, write the weight that you hope to reach. If your goal is to maintain your weight, write the weight you will stay at. And so again, this is a piece where it's important to think about your progress with your weight. And if you're someone that maybe your weight loss is stalling or you're struggling to really progress here, a really good tip is using a weight graph. If you are a visual person, a weight graph could be really helpful for you to track your weight. So keep it above your scale or keep it somewhere where you'll see it daily, and you can mark your weight as you progress through the program, and you'll be able to have that visual to help you track and help you stay motivated. Okay.
All right, so so between now and the next session, we would like you to look at page 5 of your guide on celebrate your success, because we've got to celebrate. And I want you to write your ideas in the column that says other ways to celebrate. As you see in this one, they're giving you some ideas, you know, any of those that sound good to you. You think, oh my gosh, I really don't need to do this. But actually, it really makes a difference when you kind of just pause and just give yourself a pat on the back, because that's just going to help motivate you, another way to motivate you moving forward. And then, as I mentioned earlier, is to complete that how to cope with challenges that were on the next 2 pages. And then write your ideas in the column that says other ways to cope, and check off any ideas that you tried.
Okay, so now, of course, we've come to the point in the session where we encourage you to write an action plan. So remember, keep your action plan realistic, doable, specific, and flexible. And keep in mind what worked and what didn't work well for you since the last session, but especially from the start of the program. So really, again, celebrate your successes and what you've done well, but think about what you might still be struggling with, or some of the things that you do need to work on, and how can you make those more doable or more realistic for you. So take a minute to do that. And then we also encourage you in this session to take the opportunity to either journal or just bullet point list out, but write down your goals for the rest of the program. And we think that's a really great exercise, just to put it in writing and give you that opportunity to be mindful and really think through kind of, again, your nugget or your motivation for doing this program. Why are you doing this program? And really put down your goals, what you hope to achieve. This is a really great opportunity. Like Sharon said at the beginning, it's kind of, you know, a crossroads or just a milestone to really reflect on your progress and to find motivation again, or, you know, just to think about how you want to end this year-long program. And hopefully you want to end it strong and really are encouraged to move through the next or the rest of the program with us in a positive way.
All right. Thank you, Angie. So we've come to the end of our meeting. Today we discussed staying motivated for the remainder of the session, the remainder of the year. We talked about how far you've come since you started the program and what our next steps are. And then had you write down your goals for the remainder of the program. So as again, the CDC guidelines say, please call us at the end of this session. And so what to do before calling us is, you know, finish this recording and then write your action plan. And then afterwards follow through with it. And then, you know, as Angie brought up, is write your goals for the remainder of the program. And because it's almost like, you know, you're setting your sail and you have to see where you're going in order to know where to make that next step. And then contact Angie or I to schedule a short call. And then also when you call us, get your weight and your physical activity minutes for the week, and we'll take that information too, and then you're done. So thanks again for coming to this 16th session, and we'll see you next time.